coming in too?
That's another thing. Can somebody text? Yeah, okay, cool. I have tech support this week, so it's not just me going like this. So welcome everybody. I'm going to tweet out a link, and then if everybody just hits retweet on the link, because my WordPress, Blake can probably sympathize with me or tell me I'm a moron for doing this, but we use WordPress because a lot of free website building uses WordPress, and it keeps telling me I've used the wrong username and password too many times, and it will not let me log in. And so the stream on our webpage right now is the old stream. I can't even update the code.
Oh dang!
We got to get you over to Weebly, brother.
Yeah,
Use Squarespace. No, I'm just joking.
Blake, I suck at the internet. I am terrible. I'm an old man. I am no good at the internet.
I'll share a new website with you that's unpublished, and you can start building a new website when you're ready to do it. It's like $8 a month.
Oh gosh.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
What's up, y'all?
All right, I'm about to tweet out, and then if everybody will just retweet, then everybody, all the fans will have a link to free live. Let me hashtag free. We're all good marketing professionals, so something like free needs to have a hashtag. Panel with.
My hair is being weird.
I'm jealous of your background. I'm not gonna.
This is so I'm literally in my closet. I just have a green screen set up so that I can hide my cluttered closet.
I totally believed it.
I fell for it 100%.
Okay.
Whatever. That's his Saint Seiya mansion.
This is my Seiya mansion. You can see it in my arm where it's overexposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I thought that was a tattoo for a second.
Oh yes, you know me.
Yeah. Okay, Food Wars. This is so exciting that okay, let me finish this. Somebody be fun and interesting. I'm gonna get this out, and then you all hit the retweet.
All right, I'm gonna do that real quick as well. Wait, is it already
Swasey
out?
Yes, he's coming, but so I am an old man in my actions. John is legitimately not good on the internet.
Oh no.
John says he's backstage.
It says he's backstage.
Did he click VIP? I think he clicked the VIP.
Oh no. Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go try some other headphones. For whatever reason, these are glitching out.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Should we be wearing headphones?
No, you're good. I don't have headphones on. You don't.
I just prefer it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and you game a lot, don't you, Bryson?
Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of Twitch streams and stuff like that as well. So I prefer to just have headphones and microphone. I don't like to have bleed.
Is that okay? I'm eating on the Food Wars panel. Is that okay?
Totally.
Hey, it's Food Wars.
It's 100% in character. Oh, I love that you put Jaderade on your. We're totally leaning into that.
Yes,
it's happening. You're gonna have a whole line of Jaderade branded products that look exactly like Gatorade.
I'm excited.
I'm so pumped. As a marketing guy, Blake can will appreciate that aesthetic that we're gonna lean into. Okay, and old man. I also want to put an old man, John Swasey. I freaking
coffee.
John's guys. He turned in one of his personalized videos for a fan. I almost died. It's so from across the room. Rachel's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "That's John." She's like, I don't believe it. I'm gonna need to see that video. It's so good. You can't even tell it's freaking John. All right. Free live panel. Cast starts now. Okay. Link here. All right. And then
also, hi everybody in the chat. I see a few people. Debbie, William, Tanny.
Oh, there's
Tammy, a bunch of people.
Mad people in chat right now. There's
Olivia, Grant.
Fire. All right. So we'll start.
How are you seeing that?
Do you go ahead?
Oh, I see one now.
Well, I put that one on screen, but there should be on the right side of your screen. Do you guys see chat? Blake or Bryce, tell them where to see chat since you're.
It's just on the right for me. I have the screen. I have the window full screen, and it just popped up to the side for me.
I see where it's supposed to be, but I don't see anyone commenting.
Oh, do you see? So there's a top thing. There's a private chat and a live comments.
Oh, do I hit live? Okay.
click the live comments because the private chat is where me and you were talking, Blake. And then live comments is at the top. You can click there. You can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, weird. No, it's a different panel for me. So I'm on my phone, so it's different.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so I have now pinned to the Colorworld profile the live panel link. If everyone will find that on their mobile device and then hit the retweet button, then everyone's fan base should be able to get straight into there. We have had issues with the Tixer Play part of what we do, and we've seen a lot of screenshots of like blank screens. So just
I'm gonna resend this.
Just
that you sent
no, don't forget the email. Just send one link. Do you know? Let me do that. All right.
No, I got it. I'm just gonna copy this link.
But just the one link.
Hey, Beth Ann.
Okay. All right. Livy, technically, so Livy, I know you want to claim first person here, but there's a timestamp. Yes, I asked him to use his phone because his computer was. So Debbie beat you by 6 minutes.
Ah.
So 3:23 is the timestamp on Debbie. So I appreciate everybody. B-Rad G. Somebody will call me B-Rad G. Do you guys see that movie?
B-Rad G? I don't think so.
Isn't it Malibu's Most Wanted? I think is the movie with B-Rad G.
I don't know that one. I've heard the name before, but I've never seen it.
Have I really? How old is this? Every now and then I have to be reminded that I'm 40.
I've seen a handful of movies that are older than me, but yeah.
I've seen a handful. You're like, I saw back in your day.
Oh my God.
I've seen the Brave Little Toaster.
Most of the good movies are older than you, Bryson.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's noticed movies have just been going like this.
Well, it's because they're like, we can't think of new ideas. Let's just go back 20 years and what did good there? Let's do that again.
There's a lot of remakes.
Yeah.
All right. So that white dude in between the black dudes is B-Rad G from Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh,
so
goodness.
I think I recognize that actor. He was in a lot of stuff back then.
I'm old enough to have known about this movie. I just hadn't seen it.
Was it Jamie Kennedy?
You're like, oh, I think you're right. I think you're totally right. Produced by, written by, starring. Yep, Jamie Kennedy's. He's not even on Wikipedia. He is literally, his link is turned off. That's weird.
Wow.
He's not
out here, folks.
He's not famous enough to have his own Wikipedia page. I've noticed that. Not everybody. I'm not going to Wikipedia any of you because I don't know with any certainty who would come up and who wouldn't. I don't. But
don't want to draw attention to it.
But if you ever,
I have one of those.
Oh, there's John. Now we can hear each other.
Hello.
You're not. No one's on.
Hey, dude, what's up?
Not much.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I had the cough. I
had to come outside, man, because I don't know what's going on with my internet. And of course, I come outside, and the next door neighbors have the lawn guys over.
Oh no!
Perfect.
Great timing. Really great timing. All right. So welcome. So yes. This is how chat starts for the panelists. We never really get to have an introduction because technology is so new. So many of us are doing things that we just literally like haven't done before. Grant, thank you. Rachel was so excited to get a chance to meet you, Grant, before your hangout. That was super freaking cool. Every now and then somebody's internet doesn't work, and when you run a tight schedule, it means that now the whole schedule, and so we have like behind this wall are all the other computers. So I appreciate everybody. It's been all right. So Jade, how have your hangouts been this morning?
Awesome. Everyone is so sweet. I actually really like this format. I think it's really a cool way to interact with people. Like it's because I don't know. I'm a big fan of like one-on-one conversations, and it just feels more possible with this format. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. John, what about you? How was your morning?
My morning was great. I did a there we go. I did a video for a fan that worked out really well.
It did.
And then I did a Google Hangout before this, and unfortunately, it must have been my internet connection. But it, sorry guys if it's so loud, but it went really well. I mean, it was great, and I agree with Jade. This is absolutely a wonderful format, dude. You really nailed it. The only issue is going to be internet connection, but there's nothing you can do about that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole world right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys all know John Gramillion. He is he's spying on us. John's in the chat right now. So
What's up, John?
Hey, John.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, dude. Other John, I was really excited to learn that so many people were excited to see this event. A lot of people have felt like Food Wars is a dark horse anime. It hasn't been celebrated like other animes have. So, have you guys in your time online, have you found that people like reach out to you and talk about Food Wars often?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially since it was added to Toonami in last summer. It's like blown up, and it's one of the like. For a while, it was one of those, oh, cool, you were in that. But then this past year, like my brothers would tell me that like they'll have somebody looking at something and something anime, and they'll be like, my brother does the voices for stuff like that, and they go like, oh, what are they in? He goes, there's Food Wars, and they go, Food Wars? What? It's great. Yeah.
So what about Jade? You said you've had a lot of positive experience from Megami.
Yeah, it's really cool. I can agree. Sorry, I don't know if I'm feedbacking.
That is.
Are you eating during the Food Wars panel? That's awesome.
I am. Yeah. I think I might need to grab headphones because I'm getting.
Go for it. We got you. We'll keep the party going. So Blake, what about you? What's your experience been with Food Wars Online? Have people reached out?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I get food all the time. People send me the most amazing Japanese dishes that they've made. It's just crazy. So, and it's been really inspiring for me because I really started diving into Japanese cooking, and it's a lot of fun. Like I finally mastered the like perfect soft boiled egg, where you you just cut into it and like the yolk just melts all over the rice and everything. So, it's been a lot of fun. I actually just made some miso, spicy miso pork belly last night, so it was pretty good.
Wow.
So speaking of, I'm kind of testing the waters with everybody because I've challenged all of you to a food war. So I want to I'm beating the bushes a little bit just to see like how much of a challenge do I have to, what do I got?
I hadn't responded yet, but I thought it was a really cool idea. It was interesting.
Yeah,
Blake's gonna win.
Blake's gonna
win. You know what, Jade? I challenge you to a food war, and you better put that positive whatever. I'm gonna put that in check.
Oh wait, I thought you meant like how, like if I were in a food war with Blake, I would know that Blake would win.
What?
Yeah.
You can't be a shonen hero and admit defeat before you start.
No, you're right. I've had too many conversations with Blake to know about all the amazing cooking he does and how I'm like, I can barely make anything.
But
it all started because of Food Wars. That's what really got me interested in cooking.
Yeah. I can cook spaghetti. I can make a mean pancake.
Pancakes are hard.
Scrambled eggs.
And that is the one thing. That is the one thing I will never understand about Japan. You can go to some of the coolest restaurants, and they will have spaghetti noodles with ketchup as a dish that you can order. It is the craziest thing. I just don't get the obsession with spaghetti and ketchup, but I guess a lot of people like it. It's red.
Does John want to try his? Okay, so it's
all marketing.
For sure it's marketing. You can get people to consume just about anything if you all right, now I feel like I'm you guys hear me fine? Are you
I think it's coming from I don't want to like be rude or anything. I think it's coming from John's phone speakers or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, so I muted John's mic so that we don't have that feedback. Can you text John and let him know? Okay, cool. All right, so Jeff, I asked everybody that was doing something that was Food Wars inspired to shoot me pictures of it, and we've got this dish came in last night. Jeff is working on it. Like even the plating he wanted to get just the way that he had saw. I thought that was pretty badass. And then,
it looks amazing.
Has anyone seen the Mapu tofu yet that came in this morning?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be able to
That one's a
find.
That was a work of art.
I mean, the fact that he went for the plating too, like I got to give it to Jeff. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, is Mapo MAP? Oh, there it is. Wow, that's
MAPO.
The internet is spying on us for sure because I started typing in MAP and all of a sudden hashtag Mapo tofu came up. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's
And-
the microphones and microscopes and
Oh,
cameras.
they're all like my dad. When my dad gets all weird about, like, oh, I don't want my banking information online. I'm like, Dad, like, please tell me that in 2020 you don't actually think you have privacy anymore. Like,
And anyway,
like there's a reason Siri knows what we're saying. There's a reason.
You guys are gonna love this. Are you pulling up the picture now?
Yeah,
I see it now.
that's pretty freaking awesome. Like, I really want to eat that.
Yeah.
Oh
That
man.
looks great.
If anyone else has seen any of the other, I guess we could. Well, who knows what happens if I click on notifications to see what comes up? But let's see. I forgot how to unshare. I'll have Rachel look through the stream and tell me if there's any more Food Wars inspired. Oh, that looks great, John.
Yes.
The background looks stable. Cool. All right. I don't hear myself, so we should be good.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So hey, I just wanted to show you something because y'all were talking about cooking,
Yeah.
and
Please do.
I had a dinner party scheduled for tonight, but it got canceled. So I was going to start. I don't know if you can see this here. We're going to do some petite white. Well, I was going to take them out of the bag, of course, but petite white potatoes with rosemary, thyme, and some butter and garlic.
Ooh.
Mhm.
And then I've got this going, little marinade here. We got so we can see that, some pork loin.
Ooh.
And then I was going to throw a soft-boiled egg on it for Blake.
John,
Ooh.
is there an end to your talent, John?
There's an end to my
Right.
tail.
Do you have a tail too? Are you what is the race? Oh, Saiyan. Are you a Saiyan, John? And we just didn't know it.
What's that?
Are you a Saiyan and we just didn't know it? Are you
Yeah.
hiding a tail? And that's why you're so powerful?
That's it. That's it.
Can you see if you can find
Yesterday, my daughter, who's 13, started screaming in the house, and I came running in from the backyard, and I go, "What's the problem?" She goes, "There's a lizard on the window on the inside of the house." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went to go catch it, and she's, for some reason, deathly afraid of lizards. And I caught the lizard, but it scurried through my hand, and I pushed down harder, not to try to kill it, but I got at the base of its tail, and its tail broke off. And so it ran away, and I was like, "Oh, Tara, come here and look at the tail," because it was going like that. And she was like, "No!" So anyway, I finally caught the lizard, and my daughter was saved.
Oh, thank you for saving the day, John.
Yeah.
John, my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments from the panel a couple days ago is Christina recounted the time that she saw you in the lobby at Sentai, and the both of you ended up talking about Akame ga Kill, and she was like, "Oh, you're in that? Who are you in Akame ga Kill?" And your response was priceless, and you said, "I'm the best character in that anime."
And he's right.
Oh man, it was so good. And then instantly Emily is like, well then I'm amazing because I killed the best character in that anime.
Right. Yeah.
So good.
That's amazing.
It was a fun time. Let's see. Oh, okay. So now that we've all assembled, the Avengers have assembled. Just a reminder to everybody that we love you and we appreciate you joining us in. It is probably no surprise that we all benefit from conventions, both personally and people, and getting to associate with you and see you and hang out with you, and then also being an actor isn't the most financially sustaining thing that you could do. And so often actors do many things in addition to being in the booth and being your favorite character. So these moments like these, days like these, help us out tremendously. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And to say thank you to those, we always do a VIP panel that will come after this panel. That will start at 5 p.m. Central, and it's our way to say thank you to anybody that has grabbed any item from any of the actors. You get total VIP access, and you'll get to ask an unlimited number of questions during the VIP panel. So if we don't address your question here, it's not that we don't love you. It's that we don't get to see each other during the pandemic. And so this is our chance to kind of like hang out and catch up with each other in front of you. And so it will be informed by the comments that are coming in, but we take questions in the VIP. All right. If anybody has any questions, mention us on Twitter. And Rachel, the CEO of Colorworld, is furiously working.
I'm trying. I'm very bad with technology. So everything that happened in the last event where people didn't get links
I'm in
on me,
interview. Can I call you back in just a sec?
Twitter is like,
Okay, wait, bye.
trying.
So be patient with us. Remember that there's a Colorworld Books VIP only Facebook page to get access to the VIP panel. Just simply request an access and be kind to us. If you booked a ticket in a name that's different than your actual name, or your Facebook name is different than your actual name that you booked a ticket in, please let us know so that we can connect those two things and get you in. All right, and without further ado, we're going to get started then. Bryson, tell me about your streaming life. What have you always been a gamer? Was Twitch just made for you? Like, what got you into streaming?
So I'm not like a big name streamer or anything like that. I've just barely started to get a decent following here in a bit, but I've been playing video games since I was like 4. We had a Sega Genesis, we had the PS1 when it was brand new, and I've had every PlayStation since then. But like streaming is just a fun thing for me because whoa. Now I'm hearing us twice. But it's basically I was noticing that I didn't have enough time to do a bunch of work, and then also I'm the kind of person that feels like if I'm doing something, I want it to be productive in some way. So I figure if I can stream and then also be playing the games that I like and stuff like that, it'd be another good way to productively goof off while also interacting with fans and people who want to just chat. Yeah, this background whole thing is even part of that as well. Just I'm in my closet right now. I was telling them before we started, and it's just like super messy and cluttered. So I just pop up a green screen so that I can hide that and nobody sees the mess.
It's way cool. I legitimately thought that was your house when we like first started this. Like I 100%. I had to notice that like absolutely nothing was moving, and that you were kind of like unnaturally moving in order to
adjusting the
yeah. It's super cool though. So do you have a Twitch channel that people can find you on?
Oh yeah, it's twitch.tv/Baugus Bryson. I didn't stream this week due to just like everything going on and all that stuff. I felt weird being like, hey, look at me. For the majority of this week. But me and a few other voice actors, Brittany Latta, Matt Shipman, Jonas Scott, a bunch of us, we've put together a team on something called Tiltify, where we're going to start trying to do charity streams over the course of this month to do donations and stuff like that to LGBTQ foundations and BLM foundations and all that stuff. And yeah, that's something that we're trying to get rolling here in a bit. Yep.
Okay, so for everyone that wants to find Bryson on the internet, be sure to did you say your last name is first on your channel?
Yes, it's Baugus Bryson. It's something I did when I was a kid, and then it just sort of held over, and now that's pretty much my username on everything. It's last first for some reason.
No, I am still Neon Dion 34. I won't complete that, but yeah, let's just say my email address from when I played high school football is still the same.
Yeah.
Jay, do you exist in other planes, in other places of the internet?
What? Oh, you mean like do I do the Twitches?
Well, not Twitch, like Christopher Waycamp and Kyle have like exploded on TikTok. There's so many things to do now on the internet. Are there places that you're hanging out online that fans can participate in the content that you're creating? Like, what does your life look like over the last 2 months?
I downloaded Twitch and TikTok, but I haven't really made anything yet. Kyle asked me to help out with a TikTok, and I did do that. So I know like my face exists on there somewhere. But I actually have been continuing to work from home, like once we ramped back up. So I think if I hadn't, I probably would have taken a deeper dive into some of those things. Because I really enjoy TikTok. I enjoy watching all of the content that comes out of that as it makes its way to the platforms that I am on, which are primarily Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is my jam. I love it. But
so what makes you love Instagram as a platform? Like what endears that platform to your heart?
You know, I don't know if it's just because it's image driven, and I'm a really big fan of stories. I like following people's entire days or seeing what they're talking about that day. I enjoy being able to kind of click through that. I don't know why. It's I guess just the visuals of it all, and like seeing people immediately talking straight to you is engaging to me.
I see.
And easier to follow, I think. I love Twitter. It's really fun, but it can get like overwhelming.
What do you think, Rachel? Is Twitter ever overwhelming? It's not the preferred medium. If Rachel's being like totally honest, that is, I think, the platform that she has. I feel like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong on stream, but Twitter requires a really, really analytical approach to the world, and that to be able to go back and work your mentions in some sort of organized fashion and keep track of it. Like, I feel like Twitter is not for the faint of heart. So all right.
I just want a thing that has one button. You know, I like the guy with the phone that has the big buttons. You know, and Brad, we've talked about this, man. You're trying to help me so much, and I'm just like,
you're like, I could do this. If you want me to do this, Brad, I'll do that. Although apparently, John, you can cook and act and like you can.
Well, I'm gonna go, but I will say this, I'm gonna go with Jade, because I can do. I mean, Facebook is pretty simple, but I'm really jumping over to Instagram. I started and I don't even have that many followers. I've got more followers on Instagram than I do on Twitter for sure. And I don't know how to do it, how the analytics, how the metrics work, but it seems like Instagram is just a little more user friendly.
Okay.
Plus, I do have my 20-year-old to sort of school me and tutor me.
It's very helpful to have that. But I will say this: I'm excited, Blake and John, that you guys ended up next to each other. We're gonna test. Are you? Well, they're still. All right.
Maybe P just.
Yeah. So Blake, I'll throw the question out, and then if you're the only one talking, we'll see if there's still an echo. But I was excited to have both of you on the program together because you guys are working on a children's book. So where did that come from? Who thought of that idea? Where did it come from? How did you guys connect with each other?
Well, John, go ahead, John. This was John's brainchild. So
Yeah. So several years ago, I came up with an idea to do children's. I had read a book about a lion who wouldn't brush his teeth. He had very bad breath, and the jungle animals all wanted him to go to the dentist. And it was a very interesting book. And I thought about, like, this would make a really cool little audio play for kids. And of course, we're all voice actors, and there's no shortage of finding talent. Well, that kind of fell apart, but I thought, well, I could create my own deal. And at the time, well, I still am, I work for a company here in Texas called Texas State Optical, which is for over 80 years has been an eyeglass optometry doctor dispensary of glasses kind of place. And so I decided to come up with this thing, and I created this character named Zeke, and he basically swings through the jungle, and he keeps running into things. And he turns out, I'm getting a little of myself, but he turns out he's running into things, swinging into things, knocking people over. But it turns out his mom figures out, maybe you need to go get glasses. But he's scared because he doesn't want to go to the doctor, the eye doctor, to get glasses. So his mom says it's going to be okay. So he goes, and he meets some new friends, and gets glasses, and now he can see great, and he wants to swing all through the jungle. But when I was coming up with this idea, I enlisted the aid of a friend of mine, a partner I've had in many different projects, from improv to a band we had called the DC Cowboys to just a whole bunch of stuff. I've known him for years, over 20 years. And he and I got together and started working on it. And I was like, we need an illustrator. And the first person that popped into my head was Blake, because Blake is just an absolute, I'm not just saying this because you're a buddy, but you're an absolute brilliant illustrator. And he really captured what we were looking for, which was kind of a throwback to like Dr. Seuss, the 60s, kind of old school illustrations, as opposed to the real bright poppy clip art stuff. We didn't really want that. We wanted something that was very stylized. And Blake, frankly, just hit the ball out of the park. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And we worked for years. And I'll never forget, we tried to raise money to fund it because Blake had to be paid. And we kind of fell short of that. So I said, I'm going to fund it myself. I don't care how long it takes. And so Blake and I worked out an arrangement. And I remember, Blake, us talking after Harvey, and when Harvey flooded Houston, and you were like, so I guess you probably want to stop, making payments and stuff to you. And I was like, no, I don't. I want to continue, because if I don't, I'll never finish it. So we trudged along, and Blake just absolutely came up with a brilliant concept and artwork. You can see it on the screen right there. And then, so he's also helped us develop the website. And most importantly, Blake is the voice of Zeke on the audio version. My daughter, Tara, it's a shirt that we're toying with putting out right now. So anyway, the idea for Jungleberg, and Blake, I would like you to talk about a little bit how you develop the characters. But basically, the premise of Jungleberg is this. And it's very connected to the anime community in many different ways, I think. But Jungleberg is a place in the jungle where you're going to find animals that are not necessarily germane to that. Like there's a goose and there's a kangaroo, but those aren't really animals you would find in the jungle, So the idea is that Jungleberg is a very inclusive, it's a very accepting, a very tolerant, and diverse space. And the idea with the books, this is the first one, but there's a whole bunch more in the hopper. But it deals with things that kids deal with, like going to the eye doctor. To the 6-7-year-old, that might be a big deal to them because they don't know. To the adult, you're like, dude, get over it. It's the eye doctor.
Sure.
But to them, it's something big. So just to give you a little hint, the next story we're working on is about a squirrel who's afraid of heights. And so the idea, though, is not necessarily powering through and manning up and growing a pair and get over it. It's you can go through life being afraid of heights. It's okay. And you can still live a very happy, life. So the squirrel is going to save the day without having to even conquer his fear. What he's done is it's like you know, like a river or something. You know, it can't go this way, so it just finds another way. Yeah. And it works fine. So that's kind of the gist of it. But anyway, what I'm most proud of is the fact that we've got this book, and you can see the image there that Blake created that. But while we have the e-version up right now on the website, you can download it for, I think it's $4.50, or you can get the audio version, and it's an audio play. It features actors like Lucy Christian, Blake Shepard, Patricia Duran. Jay Hickman is the narrator. Mike Vance, my writing partner, and myself provide voices. And my goal is to, you know, reach out to other voice actors in the community like Jade and Bryson, and, you know, have them be a part of it, because it's a fun world. And then ultimately the goal is to, once we get a bunch of them done, this is a while off and it's a dream, but is to have it animated and turn it into a kid's series.
So speaking of anime, Blake, that's where you come in. What has made you get involved in so many projects outside of going into the booth and doing things?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit there.
So earlier I flashed up this robot girl. And this is an image that comes from the anime that you're literally creating from.
Oh yeah.
So we made a sample for everybody to see your other projects. What like? Where do you find the time? Where do you find the motivation? Like, what compels you to do so many things besides just going into the booth and recording?
Well, I mean, for me, it was a lot of the reason why I wanted to make my own anime was because I started seeing a trend in the industry where it seemed like every show was just getting like lewder and lewder and more over the top, and just like over sexualizing the main, you know, character if it was a female. And I kind of wanted to sort of prove the market wrong. I was having a conversation with one of my friends who's an animator who's also in the industry, and me and her were having a talk about it. And, you know, I was kind of explaining to her this idea that I was having about the industry, how I kind of felt like, you know, maybe it's a lot of it is just this kind of almost like a communication breakdown between Japan and America, where Japan has shifted and started making anime specifically for the American market because our market is so much bigger than Japan's. And I wondered how much of it was actually them misinterpreting how much we like that stuff versus, you know, how much of it was their own cultural influence. And in America, you know, you can't make a show with a strong female lead unless she has a guy right next to her, or unless it's like some kind of like man-hating girl power thing. And of course, guys aren't going to watch that. So they just kind of get themselves in their own echo chamber thinking guys won't watch a show with a strong female character. And that's not true. Every guy knows that. So I wanted to make a show that was just a really strong story. And it's kind of a family-centric story, but it's also kind of deconstructing the archetype of like an Astro Boy or, you know, a Mega Man or some kind of thing like that, where you have this kind of hero that always does what they do, but then there's also like the deeper elements of that and what that actually does to a person's psyche and the journey of being a hero. And so that kind of draws it more back into the Eastern storytelling dynamic. And it's less of a Western story and more of us trying to write a very Japanese American Western anime. So the storytelling, we try to stay very true to what you would normally see in an anime, as opposed to what a lot of Western stories do, which is just completely over Westernize it and try to throw a bunch of, you know, cliche, you know, cool words in there and all this kind of stuff. It's really centered around the journey. You know, and I mean, the idea that she fights robots is just sort of a backdrop. And I mean, even the title Robot Girl, like the joke is she's not actually a robot. It's just a bad translation from Japanese. So the whole story sort of asks the viewer, they can do one of two things. They can either take it at face value and say, oh, it's a robot girl that fights robots, or they can look a little deeper and see a deeper meaning underneath.
So Jade, what percentage of you as a professional is writing versus the getting in the booth and doing your own thing?
Blake, do you mind muting your mic?
Oh, I got you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Creates this like loopy thing. I'm not a writer, but I am a full-time ADR director.
Okay. Sorry.
So no worries. So I do that. Like that's like my 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it.
Is actually your like the bulk of the time, and it's really the getting in the booth and doing the voicing is the moonlight gig.
Yeah, it's kind of flopped over that way. What? I don't know. Yeah. So my full-time job is ADR directing, and then when I'm super lucky, I get to act. That's really fun.
So did you come in the door as a director, or did you start out in the booth and then you're like, oh, somebody called out today, let me, like, how did that journey happen for you where you moved to where the majority of what you're doing is directing?
I have been doing the voice acting thing for about 13, 14 years. And after about 9, 10 years, it just was like me deciding like, I'm ready to try a different aspect of this and see if I can do it. And I just kind of started asking questions and say, hey, can I come do this? I'd like to learn how to do this. I'm really interested in doing this. And next thing I knew, I was meeting with the producers and they're like, yeah, we definitely think that would be great. Can you start in 3 weeks?
Fantastic.
Like, what? And so like, there was just like panic for like, what felt like 5 minutes, but I was just like, yes, like, I just knew I had to like be thrown into the deep end. I knew I would have support there, but I started a contract directing, which means I wasn't a full-time employee of Funimation. And when Funimation is fully open, it runs 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and it has night booths.
Really?
So I was directing at night.
Okay.
And doing that. But about 2 years ago, I transitioned to full-time where I direct 10 to 6 every day, 2 shows a week or 2 episodes a week, 2 shows a season. And now transitioned again to directing 1 show from home because it takes a lot longer to do things from home. I've been directing Nekopara from home.
Okay. So has that, like, if you I don't know how to, did you see that coming? Like when you started thinking like, oh man, this could be like really cool. Even then, did you imagine like that's what you would do? Or did you still like, you really just saw yourself as an actor and the kind of like move to directing was like surprised yourself?
I think I did because people, as I started going to conventions, they would ask like, do you ever think you'll want to direct something? And I was like, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Really?
And then one day I was just like, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
But then it all happened way faster than I thought. I thought that I would.
It would be like a show here and there.
Shadow people and like subdirect and like come in and like, and do all of that. I did not think that I would kind of be given my own show right off the bat. But I think that made it like a crash course in directing for me.
Yeah.
And I did still like utilize what time I had and that whole time to just really work with other directors and try and learn as much as I could and everything. But how fast it happened was super surprising to me. And I wouldn't go back to that time in my life.
Really? Okay. So
it was so stressful. Like, when you're learning something brand new, it's so many things. It's so stressful. I'm so happy to be where I am now at the comfort level I am now and the confidence level that I am now.
Bryson, what about you? Are there things that you do around the halls of Sentai Filmworks? Are there other places that you hang out? Are you like secretly in a bunch of commercials that we don't know about?
I've been trying to get a little bit more commercial work and technical narration and stuff like that through my agent. In terms of like on the creative side of Sentai, I haven't really done anything in terms of like directing or writing or anything like that. It's definitely something I've been interested in and showed interest, and it's something that I would love to have the opportunity to do in the future. And yeah. So and in terms of anime, pretty much the only thing I do right now is just voice in it.
Okay. Are there directors that walk into buildings like as a director, or is that just really just not something that you can come out of school from and go into? Like, how does it? Because most of the directors I've met were all started out as actors.
There's a few people, I think, like Kyle Kobe Jones and Shannon Reed and them. They didn't really come in starting as actors. I think Kyle at least started as like in marketing and all that stuff, and he came in, I think, with the company starting as a director as well. And then like Shannon, he was a film major and graduated and started off as like a video editor and assistant directed and started directing from there. But I do know that there's quite a handful of directors that did start out as acting, because I think once you do as an actor, once you've yes, John included right here. I feel like once you've done the acting side of things, you start to pick up on a lot of the things, and I think it makes it a little bit easier to transition from just cold turkey, like never done this before, to like, oh, I already know these aspects of it, so now let me learn the it's a lot easier to teach people pretty much only needed to know certain aspects that they know. But I mean, I'm not a director, so I don't know.
I think you also kind of have, this industry is so niche. I think you have to go kind of further back in time to when anime was like, dubbing was brand new, to find someone that like came in and was like, I'm going to direct this because we're starting this. But I think a lot of the people, as far as Funimation goes, a lot of the people that are directing now also started out as engineers. Like Kyle Phillips is a good example of that. Zach Bolton went from engineer to director to now producer. Tyler Walker, Chris George. All of those people started as engineers because you're in the room. That's not to say that they didn't have any directorial or acting background kind of combined with that, but as far as their anime industry,
they know the process,
because they sat in a room for 8 hours, like getting to observe a director and observe actors for years. So they transitioned really smoothly.
John, what do you got?
Well, I was just going to say, kind of going with Jade, because I followed the Jade's, I started directing Contract back in 2001, something like that. And, and I was Contract, and then I got let go, and then I was Contract, and I got let go, and then came on for various shows. But a lot of the directors that started at 80, which is now Sentai, like Al Jones that Bryson was talking about, they all came from the ad world, like he was saying. As a matter of fact, it's really funny because I was working at ADV as a voice actor, but I was also at a very lucrative career as a voice talent doing commercials. And so I started coming in and going, wait a minute, I thought you worked at so-and-so ad agency. They're like, well, I did. Now I work here. Do you do this too? And I was like, yeah. So it was really kind of a weird, just mishmash of people. A lot of ad people came in, primarily at ADV, because there was a director by the name of Stephen Foster who came from the ad world and became a director at ADV early on in like 98, 99, something like that. And he brought in a lot of people that he knew from the ad world. But then other people started getting involved, like Jade is saying, and it is, after you've done this for so long, I want to say we can go on autopilot, but there's a lot of things we know that are just automatic. I mean, we get it. And, I don't want to, I think I can speak for you, Jade, when, you just know the process so well, as we all do. But it's because we've been doing it for so long. So we really have a good handle on it. It would be difficult for somebody to come in today, I think, and just go, I want to be a director. It's like, it does to us. It doesn't seem like rocket science, but it's a very, very unique skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've worked with engineers trying to do dub stuff that have done tons of commercial stuff. They just can't wrap their head around it. They don't know what they don't know what they're doing. So anyway, I'm just with the direct. I think it's the same thing. We've just been in this world so long, and we've seen it, and we understand it. Just like she's saying with Zach and Kyle and Chris George and stuff like that. You know, they've developed a skill set because of the other thing they were doing in the same arena. You know,
well, this what I've got up on screen is one of my favorite things to point out. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm living the experience you're talking about. So Rachel wrote a book series, and then I hatched the crazy idea to have Jeremy Lee be our main character when she started buying the book series, and we didn't know who she was. And then, you know, her male counterpart in Fairy Tale was Todd, and so I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Fans would love to see that together. And then I watched all of Fairy Tale and thought, well, it'd be really cool if we had the Dragon Slayer. And next thing I know, I'm like, I find myself in these conversations and at these dinners, and then, you know, like you learn to know the ins and outs of how this world works. And so Miley Flanagan is a person that we do a ton of work with. And I saw all of a sudden I heard Chris Paul was like, hey, Miley, how's it going in this commercial? And I was like, okay, freeze frame. What the heck? And sure enough, this is Miley Flanagan is the voice of Naruto from I don't even know when Naruto started, but she has been in the industry. She is prolific in the industry, and she will tell young people that like bring up this idea of I want to be in voice acting. She'll be like, you know, you really need to consider that there is more to this world than just cartoons. You know, like there are so many things that you can do, and that the skill set in being involved in the anime world, being involved in acting, being involved in voice and set is like, you just have to know the world. You have to know the whole world. And you should, folks that say, I want to become a voice actor should really focus on being an actor and then just finding where you can plug in. And if it's in a commercial, if it's on stage, if it's in an anime, if it's in Bryson, you're nodding. You found that to be the case, that like, people should stop trying to be a voice actor, and instead, if acting is really their passion, just get in where you get in?
I think it's good to have an idea of what you specifically want to do, but be open to trying as many avenues as possible. I have a background in live theater. I have a degree in live theater. And I've never really been too big on doing on-camera stuff, just because that's not where I've had the most experience. It's where I feel least, I guess, confident. And voiceover was always something that was super interesting to me. So I always tried to veer more towards voiceover and live theater, since those were the things that interested me. But I think it's important for anybody trying to get into any sort of acting field is just keep yourself open to doing anything. I've done a handful of commercials. I haven't done a super ton of them, but like it's finding what you can do as a performer and applying that to wherever you can find work in that field, basically. Whereas as opposed to, I remember when I was first starting to find an interest in voiceover specifically, I would come across some people that would be like, I just want to do this one thing, and if I'm not doing that, then I'm just not doing everything. And in cases like those, like it's fine if you can happen into only doing like one thing and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who are able to just do one thing and it works fine for them. I think it hinders yourself more if you only are dead set on one thing.
If you have that tunnel vision, then like you are literally keeping opportunities that you could have from yourself by seeing your. So Blake, you do like 2,594 different things. What? Like, how did you get in? Because, you know, in our conversations, I have in my head, like, Blake Shepard is the entrepreneur. Blake Shepard is the idea guy. Blake Shepard is the, you know, we talked for like, I was like, oh, it'll be a 10-minute walkthrough. And then like an hour later, we've talked about how to save the world, where to put a website, where to find the lowest processing fees. Like, we covered so many things. Like how did you even get into anime? Is your focus narrowed? Like, do you just every day you get up and you have a to-do list?
Oh, I think that was some kids in the background or something.
Sorry, it was me.
Oh, wait.
That was the inside of my head.
So Blake, did you hear the question? Like how did you even get into anime with all of the many things that you do? Like
So it was a complete accident. I started doing like what would equate to children's theater for small like agencies around town, acting agencies. John and I actually we worked for some of the some similar agencies and we didn't even realize it. And it just kind of happened by accident. I was asked, I would think I was doing I don't know, Barney or SpongeBob SquarePants or a Spider-Man show or something. And the girl asked me if I'd ever done anime. And I said no. And I mean, I'd maybe seen 2 animes at that point. I was like 17 years old. And, you know, she said, well, hey, they're always looking for people with your voice range. I know this guy, Stephen Foster there. You ought to just give him a call. And I was on like a year-long waiting list and just went in and did an audition. But I mean, I was always just kind of looking for a way to not have to work at McDonald's. I mean, for me, it was just like, you know, I was basically always just trying to keep my hands in whatever I could. And I mean, I had always just kind of wanted to work for myself. I'd always kind of had that sort of entrepreneurial spirit where I just, you know, I wanted to do my own thing. And I was willing to do anything to do that. And luckily I had kind of a few lucky breaks early on as a performer through some of these small agencies. And I just kept saying yes. And so I just kept getting exposed to more and more opportunities. And then through voice acting, it was just more like, you know, I sort of had the same situation that Jade was in, where she said, yeah, you know what, I like voice acting, but, you know, I want to be part of the different parts of it, right? Like, I didn't want to just be a voice in anime. Like, I wanted to try to make one. And one of the things that amazed me about the anime style is how they're able to do so much with so little. You know, they'll do a couple of drawings and reuse those drawings and make it, you know, use it in different ways or use it in different places, or the way they'll make the robots move. It won't actually be moving. It's 2 still pieces that are moving apart, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these cool tricks that as an animator, which is what I went to school for, I saw a lot of the Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo tricks in there, right? Which is the stuff that I love. Like, you know, you know the bookshelf that's going to move because it's painted differently, right? Because the rest of it's just like a still painted background. So I love that stuff. And it just seemed like a new fun challenge to try to do. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to make one, I want to make one that is interesting and cool. So, you know, what does this mean? What does the story need to be like? You know, and then I kind of went down this rabbit hole, and I don't know, it's just sort of evolved. I just kind of always try to keep myself interested, I guess. So I'm always trying to find ways to entertain myself. And, you know, I was in a band too and played music and stuff. And you know, even us, like we were trying to do like Rick James indie rock. You know, so it was like always something like weird and different that I was trying. Like, why don't people use horns anymore? Let's put horns in the band and see what happens. Like, it'll be awesome. You know, we'll make like disco rock. So, I mean, you know, we just kind of have fun with it. And, you know, I always, like I said, just trying to think outside the box and do different things.
Dave, was the theater, was the stage part of your experience? I feel like I hear that over and over again, that like being on stage, that theater acting, stage acting is a huge part of a lot of people's career. Was that the same way for you?
Career is a strong word because
your history, is that part of your?
Yes, I would say only because I did do some professional work, and I think I had maybe 1, maybe 2 professional theater jobs that I felt like I could make a living off of. I'll say that. But theater like it really does have my heart, and it is where I learned how to act.
Yeah.
And I learned how to perform. I specifically educationally come from a music background, and I think you'll find a lot of musicians in this industry as well. I have a degree in music and vocal performance. as a singer. But I've met a lot of other musicians in this industry. So sometimes when people are like asking me like other things to do, I'm like, be in choir. I was in show choir. Like all of these things are different ways of performing to kind of learn how to be in front of people and put on a show. But I love theater. I'm so sad that it can't happen right now. Like the week that everything went dark, I was about to open a show the very next week. So
Okay.
who knows if that'll happen? We'll see.
Fingers crossed that opportunity will arrive. John, were you on stage, my friend? Are you a man in tights? Did you get up?
Mainly a lot of pole dancing.
Yeah, I see that. I see that from you.
I mean, I was the pole. So it was more like keg dancing.
Oh man!
But I started in theater, and I started in a few plays. I started at a place called the Comedy Workshop here in Houston, doing improv and sketch comedy, which was that was kind of my love. And I did some plays, and then started getting into film and commercial work, and had some success. Did some movies like Dazed and Confused, and a couple of TV movies, and a couple of feature films. But it was funny because, like everyone said, I back in '95, I sort of found voiceover, just doing commercials and industrial narrations, and I was like, well, this is great. And then in 1997, I got introduced to anime, and to me, it was just another acting job. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was just another quiver in the arrow, or another arrow in the quiver, thing. And then it just started to grow. And I mean, my favorite thing to, I guess, like an analogy or an example is when I started doing anime, there were like 1 or 2 conventions a month.
Sure.
Somewhere.
Now
Aside from COVID,
sure.
There's 6 or 7 a week.
Yeah.
All over the world. Yeah. Every one of us, and all the people that you have on your shows and your Google Hangouts and everything, all of us, everyone travels the world. I mean, it's the most amazing phenomenon. I would have never in a million years dreamed that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And I would like to think that part of it, the reason that it's become much more prolific, even though like Jade said, it still is niche. It has a following. It's not just for everybody.
Sure.
But it's amazing to see how many more people are into it. And I some of my kids at school, my kids, some of their friends and stuff, they're like, "Oh my God, that's your dad?" And it's like, what's the big deal? And to them, though, it is a big deal, So it's really cool and exciting, and it's thrilling to be a part of it. And just a little, for Texas. Between Funny and Sentai and Gearbox and Rooster Teeth, I mean, we're pretty much the mecca for anime in the world.
Well, for gaming and for there's obviously a huge the LA scene is up and coming. Bang Zoom is coming hard. JoJo's really put them on the map and has made it so that they have a budget. Ruby has put Rooster Teeth on the map and made it so that they have a budget to, like you go back and you look at season 1 of Ruby, I could not even make myself watch Ruby. The art was so bad, but the storytelling, the writing was so compelling in Ruby that those people that close their eyes, and that's essentially what I had to do, is I just put it on and listened to it. And Ruby as an audiobook was amazing. And then by the time I caught what the art looked like in season 2 and 3, I was like, oh man, this must have become really popular because this looks dramatically better than it did in season 1. So
yeah. Well, and like Blake said, we're all doing different things.
Yeah.
And you just never know when something's going to catch. It's a crazy business for sure. But when people go, I want to be a voice actor, I'm just like, well, that's great, but there's not a voice actor in this country unless you're a Don Pardo or a Don LaFontaine, that are both dead, by the way. But if there's not a voice actor in this world that doesn't do other things,
right?
Yeah. Even somebody like, take Greg Ayers. I was trying to think of like, well, I guess Greg Ayers, this is all he does. No, he also DJs. and he's big into DJing. He's huge. So, you know, as an artist, this is an outlet, but it's not our only outlet.
Yeah.
We get to find other ways to do it, and I think it's important to do.
Well, and I think that you nailed it on the head. I think that's where we're gonna hang this this first panel is being a creative, that doing anime is part of the creative life, and that if your goal is to be a voice actor, there's a really good chance that you may fall short at that. But if you are a creative person and you want to express yourself and you feel that you can add to the art that's being created in the world, I think that if you'll stick with art long enough, that you will eventually find your way in front of a microphone. If you audition, you obviously will never get cast in anything you don't audition for. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories with us, Jade and Bryson and Blake and John. I appreciate. You know, that's part of my guilty pleasure, that when we do these, the public panelists, I get to find out like where you guys all came from. And my goal as a content creator is I want to give people opportunities to get to know Bryson and not necessarily Takumi, and Jade and not necessarily Carla, and Blake and not necessarily Soma, and John. And I mean, John's everybody's daddy, but I want people to understand that what drives anime forward are you guys. You four. When you step into a booth or you step in front of a booth, Jade, and you get ready to tell people, and you, John, those that direct, like, you are what make anime great. And there's great stories that are coming from Japan, and we certainly all appreciate the work that's being done on the creator level, but there's just, anime is such a communal experience. The sound engineer, the director, the producer, the writer, the talent, like, it's such a team sport that I want everybody to know the players. So I appreciate everybody being willing to come on and spend your Saturday with us. The VIP starts in 25 minutes, so everybody go to the bathroom and get something to eat, and then we will see everybody in stream for the VIP. Just a friendly reminder for everybody that if you have a burning question, it is not too late. Grab literally any item, and then you can come. We will get you into that VIP stream, and that's all we're going to do on VIP stream is we're going to answer all of your questions. So I appreciate it. For everybody, I saw a bunch of people with disabilities and certain setbacks and limitations that were named when John was talking about his book series that John and Blake are doing together. Please tweet John, please, or Instagram. John prefers Instagram, but you can tweet Blake and Instagram John and let them know, like, if there's, autism was someone said autism in the stream. So if there's something, this is a way that we can all participate in creating art together. So if there's something that you feel like, go find Bryson streaming, go to Baugus Bryson, Twitch TV Baugus Bryson, and go see it. And find these people online. Like, this is a creative community, and if you feel like you can add to it, we want you to. So everybody enjoy the small break. We'll see everybody in 23 minutes. Remember, if you don't have access to that Facebook VIP group, now is the time to request it. And please be kind. Leave us a note if your names don't match. If your ticket name doesn't match your Facebook name, just be sure to let us know that that's who you are. All right, thank you, everybody, for your time, and we'll see you after break in the VIP.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.